Israelis keep hitting Gaza. In the last 24 hours, 20 people died. Hello, thank you very much for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Ami Budnam. I am thankful to all news resources. Following news have been reported by European, African, Asian, Australian channels and AP, AFP and Reuters news agencies. Now please watch the channels.
And France24.com.
Thanks for staying with us here on Night Watch on France 24. These are our main stories. A mass polio vaccination campaign gets underway in Gaza, aiming to immunize 640,000 children. After 11 months of fighting, Israel and Hamas have agreed to humanitarian pauses in some areas. Just over a week ago, Gaza reported its first case of polio in 25 years. Germany votes in state elections this Sunday, with the far-right Alternative for Germany predicted to win at least one of the two eastern states of Saxony or Thuringia. A win would be the first for a far-right party in state elections since World War II. And on day 3 of the Paralympics, home favourite Dorian Foulon sets the velodrome aligned as he defends his C5 4,000 metres individual pursuit title. And more medals in the pool, with the Portal brothers Alex and Kilian both on the podium, missing out on the gold behind Belarusian Ihar Boki in the 400 metres free. First up, a mass polio vaccination campaign.
This is CW News and these are our top stories. Gaza has begun vaccinating children against polio a day before the expected start of a massive vaccination campaign. This comes after Gaza recorded its first case of polio in over 2 decades. The WHO plans to administer the vaccine to more than 600,000 children. At least 20 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank as Israel presses on with its military operation, which began on Wednesday. Witnesses say Israel is concentrating its forces around the city of Jenin. Many there have been left with no option but to flee their homes. The social media platform X has gone offline in Brazil after a Supreme Court judge ordered the shutdown of the service, formerly known as Twitter. The judge says the decision was taken to tackle political disinformation and attacks on Brazil's democracy. The owner of X, Elon Musk, has repeatedly claimed that the judge's actions amount to censorship. This is DW News live from Berlin. There's much more news on our website, dw.com.
For a complete breakdown of the territory election, visit abc.net.au/ntvotes. Get all the results and see what happened in your electorate. For everything you need to know, head to abc.net.au/ntvotes.
Today, major flood warnings and damaging winds for Tasmania. Emergency crews respond to an unprecedented number of calls. From world records to gold medals, Australia continues to shine on day 3 of the Paris Paralympics. Tensions rise in the South China Sea after Chinese and Philippine ships collide near the disputed Sabina Shoal. And another Aussie through to the 4th round of the US Open. Jordan Thompson wins in straight sets. Hello, welcome to ABC News. I'm Lorna Dunkley. A flood emergency warning has been issued for the River Derwent in southern Tasmania, affecting populated areas in the...
Germany's Chancellor says foreign-born criminals will be deported a week after a Syrian asylum seeker killed 3 people.
Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has called the return of 28 Afghan nationals to Afghanistan a clear sign that foreign-born people convicted of a crime will be deported. A government spokesperson said on Friday that they were all convicted criminals, but did not say what their offenses were. It is the first time Germany has deported Afghan nationals to their homeland since the Taliban returned to Taiwan. Germany does not have diplomatic relations with the group, which required the government to work through other channels to organize the deportations. A knife attack in the town of Solingen left 3 people dead and 8 others seriously wounded. The suspect, named by prosecutors as Isa L.H., is a Syrian citizen who had applied for asylum in Germany. He was arrested on suspicion of murder and membership of a terrorist organization. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for last Friday's attack without providing evidence.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has dismissed the commander of the country's air force 4 days after an F-16 warplane crashed and killed the pilot. In his nightly video address, Zelensky confirmed Lieutenant General Mykola Oleshchuk had been removed, saying we need to protect people and personnel. The F-16 believed to have been delivered to Ukraine as part of a military aid package from Western allies. Meanwhile, a Russian attack on the city of Kyiv has killed 6 people, including a 4.
First diabetes, then obesity. Now extraordinary new claims about the potential benefits of the seeming wonder drug, best known as Ozempic.
Push the pen firmly against the skin.
New studies suggest that semaglutide, sold as Wegovy and Ozempic, may help with treating more conditions than previously thought. The drug, which helps suppress appetite, has already been rolled out on the NHS for helping with weight loss and type 2 diabetes.
I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 2019. Taking Ozempic for me has been a massive lifestyle change. It's been really helpful for me with my weight loss, managing my diabetes, helping with things like binge eating, overeating.
Kirsty's been on Ozempic for 4 weeks and documents her journey on TikTok.
In the last 3 weeks, I've lost almost a stone. Although the Ozempic has helped massively, it's also because I've been able to stick into my calorie deficit and work out as well.
Papers presented at a conference this week in London found that semaglutide consistently reduced the risk of heart problems, but also helped treat conditions like arthritis and Alzheimer's. With NHS spend on diabetes over £10 billion a year, it could be game-changing for the health service. It's already helped turn Danish manufacturer Novo Nordisk into the most valuable company in Europe, now worth more than the entire GDP of Denmark. But the drug's side effects can be severe, and many clinicians warn it shouldn't be seen as a replacement for lifestyle changes. But today's announcement has sparked hope that some of the biggest health challenges may be more manageable than we thought. Well, earlier I spoke to Professor Brian Williams, the Chief Scientific and Medical Officer at the British Heart Foundation, who's attending that conference in London. I began by asking for his assessment of claims that it could slow ageing and prolong life.
So my assessment of that is that if you are overweight, and particularly if you're extremely overweight and you develop type 2 diabetes as well, then we already know that shortens life. And the shortening of life is due to a range of conditions, mainly cardiovascular disease and kidney disease, but also things like cancer that are associated with aging. So that's where the claim has come from. My sense is that what these studies are showing is that the accumulation of fat in the body sets off a whole range of processes that are detrimental to our health and that have far-reaching consequences. Inevitably, you know, the holy grail has always been to look for treatments that will prolong life. We have a treatment here alongside blood pressure control and statins and other treatments that we use to prevent cardiovascular disease that will prolong life in patients who need the treatment because they have diabetes or are overweight. And that's why we're excited, and that's why some of our colleagues get overexcited. But, you know, that's where we stand today.
And just to be clear, I mean, some of the conditions that are being talked about in connection with this now include things like arthritis and Alzheimer's. I mean, where is it in terms of those conditions?
So I think if you look at obesity and you look at the consequences of obesity, all of those things are well recognized in people who have excessive weight, particularly extremes of excessive weight. I think we know these associations exist. What's exciting is that some of these associated diseases may be reversed, or at least the risk of them reversed, by reducing weight with this treatment. I suspect if people were able to reduce their weight by an equivalent amount, by following long-standing guidance to eat healthy and take more exercise and look after yourself, we'd probably get the same benefits. And that's probably one of the reasons why people who adopt those lifestyles don't get those diseases that we've just mentioned quite so often until very late in their longer lives.
And just in terms of the whole picture, this drug won't necessarily suit everyone. You know, is there a word of caution about that?
Yeah, like any medication, it should be prescribed by a clinician who understands the reasons for prescribing it and can advise patients on the potential consequences. I've seen this drug used by many patients, and you know, the commonest side effect that patients get is nausea, or in some cases vomiting, and they have to down titrate the dose to try and get to a dose that doesn't cause those symptoms. In some patients, and there have been many well publicized cases of various people in the news, they're not able to tolerate the drug at all. And that does sometimes happen. There are some rare side effects, such as inflammation of the pancreas. That's an organ in the body that produces insulin, that can be quite serious. Fortunately, they're very rare, and the medical profession is well aware of them and will monitor for those kind of things. But it is a medication, it is a drug treatment, and we should be using it under medical supervision and making sure that the right people get access to this treatment.
But it is also one that this precise moment, with the information that is coming out, that gives us cause for optimism.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, we always get excited at the British Heart Foundation and amongst our cardiology colleagues that whenever we see a treatment that adds to what we've got already in terms of reducing the burden of heart disease and stroke, and this is the first of many.
Professor Williams, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.
Hello, you're watching Sky News. I'm Nick Qureshi. Here are the headlines this morning. 2 deaths following the Notting Hill Carnival. A mother killed in front of her 3-year-old daughter, and a chef attacked on a visit to London.
We shared information about 2 people with very serious injuries. I'm very sad to tell you now that both have since died.
A political earthquake in Germany, with a far-right party on the verge of winning the most votes in state elections for the first time since the Nazis.
There is a fascist danger in Germany. Not only in Germany, it's spreading all over the world.
Difficult days ahead, the SNP's assessment of life in Scotland under the Labour government. Definitely no maybes. Sold out, hundreds of thousands of fans look back in anger at the battle for Oasis tickets. Plus, the Love Island effect. Sky News investigates the growing demand for cosmetic procedures driven by TV and social media. Hello, good morning. The Metropolitan Police has launched 2 murder investigations after 2 people died, having been attacked in separate incidents at the Notting Hill Carnival over the bank holiday weekend. Cher Maximin was stabbed in front of her young child when she tried to intervene in a fight at the carnival last Sunday. Then on Monday night, Musier in Metu was found unconscious near the celebrations. Police are keen to talk to anyone who can help piece together his movements that day. Officers know
some of them don't even have a place to go or don't know where to go. خليك. Or
TRT World witnesses Israel's military operation inside the Jenin camp in the occupied West Bank. Reports suggest live rounds fired at civilians. A polio vaccine campaign begins in Gaza as Israeli strikes continue, killing dozens of Palestinians. Hello and welcome to TRT World. We're live from Istanbul. I'm Efnan Han, also ahead on the program. Russia and Ukraine continue to trade blows as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky fires his Air Force chief. And protests on the eve of Germany's state elections, in which the far-right AfD party is on track to win the most votes. Israeli forces have intensified their siege of Jenin as raids across the occupied West Bank continue for a fifth day.
Headline news this hour. The U.S. calls China's actions in the South China Sea dangerous, escalatory, and against lawful Philippine maritime operations. And this after both Beijing and Manila accused each other of ramming their ships near the Sabina Shoal in the disputed waterway. Tropical storm Shanshan moves into central Japan with heavy rain forecast over the regions of Tokai and Kanto Koshin, including Tokyo. Residents have been advised to stay alert. Air, rail and road transport disrupted. But the worst seems to be over for Indian state of Gujarat, reeling under the impact of Cyclone Asna and heavy monsoon rains. Locals return to their homes after floodwaters recede in cities near the coastline. And UN agencies set to begin mass polio vaccination in the Gaza Strip today, with Israel and Hamas agreeing to a series of area-specific pauses in fighting. Officials aim to administer doses to 640,000 children after the first case of polio in the enclave in 25 years was confirmed last week. And that's the latest from the CNN newsroom.
The number of monkeypox cases in Nigeria has now risen to 48, with the virus now reported in Abuja and 20 other states, according to the health authorities. Despite the increase in cases, no deaths have been reported so far. On August 27, the government received a shipment of 10,000 vaccine doses from the United States to help combat the outbreak. The African Union had declared a public health emergency in response to the rapid spread of the virus across the African continent. The voter registration process for the 2024 elections in Cameroon has come to an end. According to an official announcement from the Director of Elections, registration was to officially close on Saturday, August 31st at exactly 2 p.m. local time. Main political parties were seen making final push to enroll as many eligible voters as possible. Their efforts were focused on encouraging citizens to register before the deadline, with the aim of maximizing voter participation. In June, have already registered to vote. The South Africa's rugby team, the Springboks, are upbeat about their Saturday match against New Zealand in what looks like a repeat of last year's Rugby World Cup final. The match will be the first of 2 consecutive meetings between the Springboks and All Blacks as part of the Rugby Championship.
Unfortunately, if you don't get momentum in this game and you're not dominating in your set pieces, you're going to have a long dead office. One thing they've done well against us in Auckland, I think when we played against them last year, if you remember that game we lost, I think physically they pitched up on the game and their kicking game was at the best, and we struggled in that game to get into the game. So I don't think it's a mistake that we want to make against them.
The Springbok captain, Siantanda Kolisi, believes that it is time to reaffirm their prowess against the All Blacks.
It's always a tough battle. I mean, Sam Kane also back in the squad now. He's a...
What would like you've been growing the need of an ever world, delivering unique solutions to help our customers reach innovating to create an exciting new world of convenience and freedom, where what you can achieve is only limited by your imagination. Opening up new, more inclusive channels for commerce. Empowering a new generation to reach beyond their dreams and grow into the giants that we're always meant to be. We're helping to create a future where the possibilities are infinite, the opportunities borderless, and where the world looks up to Africa. Let's awaken the giant in you. You first. First Bank.
You're watching Newsnight from Nigeria's capital in Abuja. A reminder of our top stories. 7 persons missing, 89 houses washed away as flood ravages 2 local government areas in Niger State. And hope rises for the curtailment of Mpox virus. Federal government to begin vaccination on October 8 as 48 cases are confirmed in 19 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And resident doctors call federal government's bluff, continue with warning strike despite no work, no pay threats. And a Russian helicopter carrying 22 people has gone missing near a volcano in the Kamchatka Peninsula in the country's far east, as according to the local governor. Plus, Philippines, China trade accusations of ramming ships in South China Sea. You're welcome back and still watching Newsnight from Nigeria's capital in Abuja. I'm Christian Ogodo. Thanks for staying with us. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development
/ you'll say. More on that at 10:30 in our paper review. First, your news headlines with Sophia Wensler.
Ben, thank you. Good evening from the GB newsroom. It's just gone 10 o'clock. Your top story this hour. The bodies of 3 children and a man have been found at a property in Staines after officers were called to the address by the ambulance service. Surrey police say an investigation is underway to establish the circumstances of their deaths. The force believes it is an isolated incident with no third party involved. A 32-year-old mother and a man who were attacked in separate incidents during the Notting Hill Carnival have now died. Cher Maximan was stabbed at the carnival while attending the event with her 3-year-old child. The 32-year-old was taken to hospital in a critical condition, but despite the best efforts of medical staff, she died from her injuries. Meanwhile, Museum Netu, who worked as a top chef, was found unconscious on Monday evening just near Notting Hill, and he's also died from his injuries. Metropolitan Police said the deaths have been devastating for both families, and they were both now being treated by the force as murder investigations. Firefighters responding to a blaze in Silvertown, close to the O2 Arena, say it is now under control. Terrified residents posted on social media about the smoke billowing near the venue, but the police have now said the incident was part of a pre-planned filming. The Met Police also confirmed there is no risk to the public. The social media platform X has been banned in Brazil after a long-standing disinformation row. The move follows a feud between Elon Musk and the Brazilian Supreme Court over a failure to block accounts accused of spreading fake news and hate. In response, Elon Musk posted on X, calling the move an attack on the #1 source of truth. All shows for Oasis's reunion tour in the UK and Ireland have now sold out. After a long day of queuing and website glitches, the Britpop band announced on X that there are now no more tickets available for general sale. The band also warned fans to be wary of counterfeit tickets being sold at inflated prices. The warring Gallagher brothers are setting their differences aside after a 15-year absence from the stage. And parts of England could see flooding this weekend as heavy rain and thunderstorms sweep across the southwest. The Met Office has issued a warning for flooding, power cuts and travel disruption. Up to 75 millimetres of rain could fall in just under an hour, with lightning, hail and strong winds also posing threats. Despite the uncertainty, residents across southern and central England are being urged to stay alert for sudden severe weather. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Sophia Wensler, more in an hour.
Thank you for watching and privilege of your time. This is Amir Shakil 5858. I am Amir Woodman. Have a good life.